to welcome everybody again to this webinar regarding transitioning from gas-powered landscaping equipment to electric equipment. And before we begin, I just want to let folks know that you can access this webinar in Spanish. And I'm going to introduce Julie Burns and also Javier Morone, and they will let you know how to access the interpretation feature.
Okay.
With that, thank you, Julie.
Thank you. Muy buenas noches, bienvenidos a la reunión. Esta reunión, como dijo Rebeca, será interpretada simultáneamente al español. Si quiere escuchar en español, por favor haga clic en el icono del globo que se encuentra al pie de la página y elija su idioma español. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Julie. And let me just add you. Okay, so we are going to get started. So I'm going to cover a couple areas first, and then we'll get to our great speakers that we have tonight. Let me just get to our screen here. Here we go. Great, so everyone can see the presentation, hoping?
Yes.
Great, thank you. So again, we're here to talk about making the move from gas to electric gardening equipment. And my name's Rebecca Lucky. I am the Sustainability Manager for the City of Menlo Park. And we are hoping to cover a couple areas tonight, which is Menlo Park's going to be considering proposed rules regarding the use of gas-powered equipment with a phase out over the next 10, or probably less than 10 years now, 7 years. And that's gonna be a very brief overview of how to participate in the process and how to give feedback. And then we're going to have a question and answer session with EnviroViews with the owner Armando Vega, who has been able to transition from gas to electric equipment. And then the next portion, we will go over the state discount program for electric gardening equipment. And we have a couple of representatives who are processing the discounts at their stores. We've got Ewing Erasmo Martinez and from Gardenland Center, Richard Ogawa. And then we'll have a period of questions and answers. And I highly recommend you use the Q&A feature, which is either at the bottom or the top of your screen. And we can all try to answer questions live. So that way you don't have to necessarily wait until the end to get your answer. So why is the city considering rules? We've heard a lot over the last several years from our residents about noise and the amount of the smell and the emissions really seem to bother our residents. And so they've asked the city council to consider rules regarding gas-powered landscaping equipment. And we've been kind of digging further into this area, and what we've also learned is that really small off-road engines, which is called SOAR, actually emit more smog than all of the cars in California. And that may be a surprise to you, as it probably was to me. And when you start to think about kind of how California has regulated the emissions of cars, you kind of begin to see kind of why small off-road engines exceed cars. Cars have had really strict standards with emissions. They've got catalytic converters. Every year, the Air Resources Board tries to, again, further their ability to restrict the amount of emissions that cars emit, because air quality is an issue in California. We're a highly urban area. And so for small off-road engines, the California Air Resources Board has found that over 70% of this type of equipment is actually gardening equipment. And just to give some perspective on that as well, 1 hour use of a leaf blower really equates to about 15 hours of driving. And that's emissions that if you're not wearing protective gear, you're actually inhaling, and it also causes cardiovascular heart problems. The type of fuel that's used for gas-powered equipment includes gasoline, diesel, and a mixture of oil, and that again is a pretty harmful substance to be breathing in. And so what we're looking at, ZELI, we call it, but it's Zero Emissions Landscaping Equipment Ordinance or Rule. And again, it's coming from concerns that we're hearing from residents regarding noise, pollution, and worker health and safety. And it also does build upon a new California law that will prohibit the sale, but not the use of gas-powered gardening equipment. And the sale will, the prohibition on the sale of gas-powered gardening equipment will start January 1st, 2024. And so there are a lot of there are incentive programs available right now. It started November of last year, about 24 million. The money is going very quickly, as probably our store representatives will tell you, but it is available to you. And I'm going to be dropping in some links in the chat so you can kind of see what's out there and how to find a store near you. So for Menlo Park, the proposed regulation would really apply to all properties, so residential and commercial. And where we're proposing to go is starting July 1st of 2024, that gas-powered leaf blowers and string trimmers wouldn't be allowed to be used within the city of Menlo Park. And then starting January 1st of 2029, we would expand that to lawnmowers, chainsaws, and hedge trimmers. So some activities that are going to occur around this rulemaking, we are currently launching this month and next month surveys. We have a survey and webinars for the public and landscaping and gardening professionals. And we've got a webpage that kind of goes into detail about the proposed rules. And we also have a survey that you can fill out and provide feedback directly, which we can again use as kind of explaining and hearing the feedback we heard from the community and landscaping and gardening professionals. So again, I'll drop that in the chat area or the Q&A. So the next kind of stop for us is the Environmental Quality Commission. They're an advisory body to the City Council. So they're going to review the draft ordinance and kind of hear what the community feedback was regarding the proposed rules, and they're going to give advice to the City Council. And then from there, we'll go to the City Council in April or May, and they'll consider adopting the proposed zero emission landscaping equipment rules. And that's really the final opportunity to provide public feedback. And so if it all passes in April, May, or June, that would mean, again, starting July 1st, 2024, that leaf blowers and string trimmers or weed whackers would have to use zero emissions, which is mainly electric or not gas powered. So a lot of the feedback we've been hearing from gardeners and landscapers is that the transition is going to be difficult, and it certainly highlights a lot of the challenges that professionals are going to encounter if these rules go into place. And so we wanted to kind of give kind of a story of a local Bay Area company that has been able to transition. We know everyone's experience is different, and one story is one story, but we hope to kind of share their experience to help you kind of figure out what are the next steps to take if you're looking to electrify your landscaping or gardening equipment. And so we have, I'm pleased to introduce Armando Vega. He's the owner of EnviroViews, and they're a second-generation family-owned business in the Bay Area. They serve 33 homeowner associations, large residential living areas. They have about 30 employees. From what I understand, they began their transition in 2020 with one crew. So they piloted as kind of a starter, and then they were able to expand to all 5 crews within 2 years. And so the next few slides are going to go over some questions, and Armando is going to kind of give us some insights on the nuances of how they transitioned. So the first kind of question area is around equipment. So Armando, if you could just share with us, what was your motivation to transition?
First of all, thank you, Rebecca, for allowing me to share my story. I didn't do it alone. I had a good group of people and resources. Gardenland was very instrumental in helping us find the right equipment to help us to do our work with all battery equipment. My motivation really came about wanting to differentiate ourselves from our larger competitors, and also being in the industry for almost 25 years. One of the main concerns that our customers had was the noise of the leaf blowers, especially in homeowner associations where their housing is very put together closely, and so the gas equipment basically has the noise is just bounces off the houses, the neighborhoods, and you can hear the leaf blowers from 2 or 3 blocks away from the source. So I was thinking, like, I did some research and found out that the electric equipment, the battery equipment, has enough sufficient power and range to allow us to do our work within like one day, a full day's work with one charge. And so that was the motivation, was to differentiate ourselves from our competitors, and just to provide a different source of equipment service using a more quieter equipment.
Thanks, Armando. And then could you describe the electric equipment you have, and do you still use any gas-powered equipment?
Yeah, right now we are, I would say 80% all electric. Basically what we did is we duplicated what we had on our gas equipment trailers for our crews. We have right now we have a 33-inch walk behind all electric lawnmower, 2 leaf blowers, 2 weed eaters, string trimmers, 2 hedge trimmers, and what else? And that's pretty much it. And so everything that we have in one crew is all electric. So we carry no fuel, no mix on those particular crews. This year, we hope to be 100% all electric. Yeah, so that's our goal.
Thank you. And what type of brands have you been using, and how are they holding up?
Okay. We have been using the Mean Green lawnmowers, and we are also using the Stihl brand backpack batteries. Basically, we have the Stihl brand string trimmers, leaf blowers, hedge trimmers. Everything is Stihl except for the larger walk behind mowers.
Great. And the equipment has been pretty comparable to gas as far as?
It's very, okay, so the equipment is very comparable to the gas equipment, but it's actually even better because you don't have to worry about the mix. You don't have to worry about spark plugs, no carburetors. You don't have to worry about those type of maintenance. The only thing you have to worry about now is, okay, so we manage how to use the equipment properly so that we have enough power on our equipment to last us all day. And all day means 7 hours of work.
Great, thank you. And then how many batteries are needed per piece of electric equipment? Like how many extras do you need to carry?
Well, in our case, because we have the steel backpack batteries, um, we can use the hedge trimmers, we can use the string trimmers, we can use the leaf blowers, all within one backpack battery. So we use right now we have three backpack batteries and two smaller batteries that we put on the 21-inch lawnmowers. So you're looking at a total of 6 batteries per crew, and that lasts us. And even we still have that lasts us all day, but we still have power on our batteries to further on more work for that day.
Great, thank you. And can you describe your charging system and what you needed to do to get that up and running?
Okay, so we started with an empty canvas, an enclosed trailer, a 6 foot by 10 foot trailer enclosed. It was empty. So what I had to do, come up with an idea to organize the batteries, how we're going to charge it inside, and also how to organize the equipment. Um, and so with Gardenland, they have this battery management system. It's called a TOA that allow us to plug in all the chargers on that TOA, power manager, and then just connect a 110 extension, plug it into the wall, and then overnight all the batteries are charged, and in the morning all that the guys do is unplug the extension cord, and off they go to work.
Great, thank you. And did you have to do any kind of upgrades? Like,
Yes, we did. We had to increase the capacity on our breaker, and that was just something that needed to be done in the first place. And so we did that. We had an electrician that cost us about, I think it was like 3,500, but that gave us the capacity to be charging up to 8 different crews at one time.
great, thank you.
Yeah.
So the next set of questions really revolve around cost and savings. So did you have to increase customer rates as a result of the transition? And if so, why?
Okay, so we did this without throwing it out there to our customers. We were like, okay, we have a pretty good size of customer base, and we didn't want to throw it out there and say, hey, we're going to be going electric, but here's your new bill with an increase. No, we did it on our own, and for the following year, we were allowed. We asked our customers for an increase, and it was like 10% increase, and they were so excited about it. They were just like, oh, thank you for investing in the tools, and it's so much quieter. We can work from home, and so that just made it worth all the while.
Thank you. And what methods have you used to keep customer costs low? So, how did you replace the leaf blower because what we understand is that the electric equipment maybe isn't as powerful as the gas leaf blower.
So there are different. We had to do a training on how to basically. There's a different mentality when we use the gas when we use the gas leaf blowers, for example. We realized that our employees were going out there and then using the full throttle on the leaf blowers. They wanted to use it as opposed to raking. And so when we did the transition to electric, we had to do a retraining and said, okay, now our practice, we have to eliminate the use of leaf blowers as far as, instead of using the rake for after you're trimming and you're raking your trimmings and that sort of thing, and then just save the leaf blower for the last. But we became efficient in the way that we service our customers, even using the battery. it was just a retraining process.
Thank you. And have you experienced any kind of fuel savings as a result of the transition?
Oh yeah, this is back in, so we started this, we purchased the equipment in December of 2020. We launched the electric division in January 2021. And I did a cost analysis at that time to fuel one crew just for the equipment. It was costing us $600 every 2 weeks. So that's $1,200 a month just for one crew, and not including the truck. And so that's the savings that we were, having just with one crew. And so we multiply that now by 5 crews that we're having right now using our electric, and with the increase of gasoline that we experienced this last year, I know for sure we're saving more than $1,200 per crew.
Thank you. And how much time, I mean, because we understand that the cost for electric equipment is higher than for gas-powered equipment. So how much time did it take you to recover your costs from the transition to gas to electric?
Well, we were basing it on our math, and we were like, okay, we're expecting it within 2 years, but it's actually a year and a half that we'll get our return on investment. And the more the gas prices go up, the quicker we get our return on investment.
Thanks. So this last set of questions really involve kind of any safety and last kind of any tips for gardeners and landscapers. So were there any safety issues that you had to resolve, like charging areas, cord issues between the equipment and the battery pack?
Okay, yeah, so that's part of the training process that you have with your employees, and it's just how to use the equipment. Sure, I mean, we ran through a few things, and one of them was, when we have the backpack batteries and we have the cord, and a crew member will be trimming and then accidentally nicks the cord. And so those are the things that we go back, and then as a company, as a staff meeting with the crews is okay. So when we're trimming, and we have to be more careful and how we use the equipment and that sort of thing. For us, we did a 1 day training on how to use the batteries, how to charge the batteries, how to use the equipment, and basically we just go through every piece of equipment, and we show them how much more safe the equipment, the electric equipment is than the gas-powered equipment. It has more safety features, and so that's been a really plus for my employees. They appreciate that. It's much more quieter. Sometimes they're like, oh, it's so much quieter. I don't have to wear my earplugs when I'm using the leaf blower. I said, no, you still have to, but you can use the other ones, the smaller ones. So it's just, and they say that when they go home, they don't smell like gasoline. And so that's yeah, they're really excited about that. But yes, the electric equipment does have more safety features than the gas power.
Thank you. And are you able to use electric equipment during rain events? Have you experienced any issues with that?
Yeah, when we launched it last in 2021, and then we had some rains, I was a little nervous. But no, the batteries, the batteries are waterproof. The ones that we use are waterproof, and the crews are using them even in the rains. No problem. Yeah.
And do you have any advice for small size gardeners with like maybe less than 5 employees on how to transition? Where would they start? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so they should start where I started. Basically, go to your local landscape dealer and do your research and say, look, this is the type of these are the type of customers that I have. If I have residentials and I have this vehicle, okay, then you do your homework and say, okay, so I'm gonna need this this type of equipment that they need to last this long. And then you may have to make some changes on your vehicle, whether you have a van or you have a pickup truck or you have a trailer. And then you can start organizing your tools and also make sure that, if you're going to take the tools out of your vehicle, out of your trailer into your shop or garage, make sure that you have the equipment necessary to make sure that you charging your batteries properly. You have a good power manager so that you don't trip your breaker. And that's one of the main things that I really appreciate Gardenland is that they taught me, okay, so this is the equipment that you're going to need for what for your purpose, and they have a really good product called the TOA, and so yeah, that's what I would recommend is just for any landscaper to go to their local dealer and ask the questions and do a test. Start with something small, even if it's just a leaf blower or one battery. Start with that, and they're going to see they can grow into phasing out the rest of their gas power equipment.
Thank you so much, Armando. Again, it's, the story and kind of the tips really do highlight kind of where people need to go and appreciate kind of you taking this on with your company.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Rebecca.
So let's see, our next few slides are going to go over, if I can move them. There we go. I'm going to go over the state discount program. So as I mentioned earlier, there is an incentive program the state has launched. It started in November, and again, the funds are going pretty quickly. It's called California Core. So if you want to search, the entire inventory, I don't think I'm able to kind of drop in the information we have from our website, but we do have a PDF on our website. Again, if you go to menlopark.gov /Zelle, ZELE, they're kind of in the middle of that web page. You can find a kind of a PDF that has local stores in the area and some of the equipment. But if you're looking for the entire inventory, we recommend that you go to californiacore.org. And this is just a sample of kind of some of the equipment's retail price and the discounted price that you would get, again, if you're a landscaper or a gardener. So this isn't available to homeowners. And I think, as Armando mentioned, there is a kind of the TOA green box here, which is the power management system. And so where to get the discount? There's a couple of places nearby Menlo Park. And we've got, again, some of our dealers represented here today. So we have Ewing in San Carlos. They also have stores in Hayward, Dublin, and San Leandro. So Erasmo Martinez is here tonight to kind of talk about their experience with the discount program and how to apply for it. It's pretty easy. And then from Gardenland Center in Campbell, we have Richard Ogawa, who's the CEO and owner. Has been doing this for a very long time, I hear, at the forefront of zero emission landscaping equipment. And then I just want to also mention that San Mateo Lawnmower is also a local dealer, and Horizon Distributors is actually in Menlo Park as well. And each of these stores sell different brands. So again, I recommend going to the website to kind of find which brand you're looking for and which store sells that. So before I get to our last slide here, I'm going to hand it off to Richard and Erasmo. I'm going to stop sharing because I know that you've got a couple of slides you want to share too. I lost my controls here. There we go. Is it on? Did it go back up? There you go. Hi, Erasmo.
Alright.
Hi, Richard.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, how are you?
All right, let me get the screen here so I can show you some slides. Okay, do you see the screen all right, everyone?
Yes.
Yep.
As Rebecca was saying, it's actually really easy to apply for this program. It really requires an ID and just one form of documentation, whether it's your landscape contractor license, it can be a copy of a business license, or it can be a business card and just our dealer attestation saying that you're basically a customer of ours, and we can go ahead and attest that you are a contractor that works with us. As far as the processing time, I really recommend applying as soon as possible. As we were mentioning earlier, we do have a lot of applicants, and the state is probably going to be the one that's going to take the longest, between 30 to 60 days to approve the voucher. Product-wise, we do have a lot of product available in general, but there are a few things, especially lawnmowers and some blower kits that are taking several weeks to even sometimes months to get certain applications, especially through Steel. And then once we get that product in and the voucher is approved, it should take only about 1 to 2 weeks to process that redemption process. And that's when we can go ahead and collect that payment through the voucher system, which is about 70% less is what it averages. So instead of paying, the list price on that.
Oh, Erasmo, before you go ahead, Richard, can you share your experience with the processing times?
Yeah, actually, what we've been experiencing is the process is taking a lot longer than they kind of originally laid out. I think that this is a fairly new process for them, so they're kind of working out all the kinks. But there's some very specific things that you want to just be aware of. There are certain products that are available on the core site that aren't technically available from the manufacturer yet, and they're still being developed and produced. So in those cases, you won't get any type of approval or funding until that actual product is shipped from the manufacturer. So if you're looking to transition fairly quickly, you should ask your dealer to make sure it's product that they actually have in stock. That'll really speed up the process in doing that. And then just make sure there's some specific rules like the funding gap that we're talking here. It's maxed out at 25,000. If you have any kind of claim, any bit over that, your claim will be held up and you won't know it because the exceptions aren't really coming out. They're not that obvious. And so you may run into these exceptions that your claim is being held up and you wouldn't know it, you wouldn't be aware of it. So just be aware of working with your dealer to make sure that you're meeting all the specific requirements. Did we talk, Erasmo, about the requirements, the business requirements?
Yes, so actually I took out the slide, but what the requirements are basically need to be a small business or micro business. You cannot have more than 100 employees to qualify. And also, as far as limitations on the batteries, which is on this slide here, when they are going to apply, as a dealer, we'll help you out to choose which batteries and which things that we can use, because if you limit, like for example, $3,000 on the battery itself over 700 watt hours, if those items are not put in a certain order, as Richard has mentioned, they will actually refuse the voucher and they'll kick it back to us. And so definitely work with us on the process, and we have really good resources that we can show you. We have printouts usually and connections where we, like as Armando was mentioning, and working with Richard and his company, is definitely feel open to talk to us, contact us. don't do it all alone, because it can just be a little snag, like as simply as missing a check mark. And we want to definitely make this as easy as possible.
And I think the other thing to emphasize too is this program was really built around the micro business as well as the small business landscaper. This is not made for the commercial big landscaping companies. This was really made for the 1-2 truck guys that are out there that really it's just so expensive now. It's usually a 4 to 5x more expense for you to invest in battery. And this program was really designed for that specific purpose. So when they define micro business, that's, basically they've had $10 million out of that 27 million specifically allocated micro businesses. And they gave them the opportunity to participate in the program 18 months earlier, or they're reserving that 10 million for 18 months, specifically designed for your landscapers that have 1 or 2 trucks, right? And less than 100 employees. So I'd really take advantage of that because it's a very unique opportunity that you're going to be able to qualify for those funds, and you'll get priority, right? And as of right now, about 5.8 million of the 10 million that was allocated for micro business has been used up, right? So don't wait. This is your opportunity to really take advantage of a program that's very specifically designed for the local landscaper. And currently, I believe around 3 million has been used up of the 17 million that's been designated for small businesses. So, the money is not going to be unlimited, so take advantage of it while you can.
Great. And Erasmo, what's the volume you've been seeing?
I will have a question about almost every day, whether it's a call or an existing customer that wants to learn about it and how it would work, how long it takes, especially because it is some products that are taking a long time or not even available to order. And so when I give that information out, it really helps them understand that process. And so I'll get calls again every day about it, and applications are coming in weekly, several a week. And unfortunately, because of certain products, we can't move forward. But as soon as they're available, we want to have them on queue. And so if you're interested, definitely reach out to us.
Great. And your frequently asked questions there, I saw sales tax.
Yes, so
Cover that.
the MSRP is going to be based on that sales tax. So there is going to be tax on it. You can't just get the discount and not pay the tax on it. The state does need to collect that tax separately. And then there is a $25,000 cap per purchaser, which also includes the contact person. So meaning the owner, for example, can't do 25,000 and then claim another 25,000 for the company. It's a total of $25,000. And it is a 12-month voucher. And so that allows that product to basically kind of keep an eye on it and see what's available, what we can get in sooner and what we cannot. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess the duration of the program, it's really wrapped around how much funding is left. So there's not really a time limit. It's when the money's used up, it's used up. So highly encourage you guys to, jump on it while you can and take advantage of this program while the funds are available.
Exactly.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to our last slide here. And so, and again, if any of our panelists have anything to add, I definitely got this information from a few of you, so I appreciate that. And just want to kind of really hit on the idea about charging safety and battery disposal as well. And so determining really how to charge your equipment, as Armando's mentioned, and I know Richard and I have talked about this, it can really make the transition smooth and help reduce costs. Most battery chargers do require a dedicated circuit breaker to be added, and your electrical panel may need to be upgraded. And so kind of thinking about that as part of the transition can really, again, make it smoother. You could talk to your local stores. So like Erasmo, Richard, a few of the others that I mentioned, San Mateo Lawnmower, Horizons, they could definitely kind of help you through the technology. I did kind of showcase this particular smart charger here that, again, Richard, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you can plug things in and you can plug the chargers in and it'll charge batteries kind of, in groups. So it's not all charging all at once. So it's kind of this smart technology that does that.
And so how it basically started was we've been selling battery equipment for about 12 years now. And it's one thing that if you've got 1 or 2 batteries on your truck, you can handle it. But when you go from 2 or 3 to 10 to 15, most chargers have a 5 amp requirement and most outlets in your house are 15 to 20 amps. So that pretty much maxes you out at 3 chargers in 1 circuit. And if you can imagine yourself now putting these batteries on in an outlet and have to rotate them at 4 hours, right? Rotate them. You're going to have to basically stay up all night to rotate all your batteries so you're ready for the next morning, right? Or you're going to have to keep adding these dedicated circuits in your house to manage charging all these batteries. You look in Armando's cases where he's running 3 backpack batteries and 2 side batteries. Each one of those backpack batteries would take him anywhere like 6 hours to charge. He'd have to rotate those for 16 hours or 18 hours throughout the night in order to be able to be ready to go in the morning. So I actually started till 2 years ago in response to this need that wasn't there. And that was really being able to provide a safe, reliable way to charge things and do it utilizing the time throughout the night to be able to charge us. And this will sequentially manage all your chargers. You just plug them all into the device and it'll sequence it all throughout the night without ever tripping your circuit. And the key here is it's safe, right? If you look at what we see in a lot of people's trucks and their vans, they've got 1 extension cord with 5 other extension cords on it with another 5 on it. And it's a fire hazard, right? And it's really, really important that you don't overrate your circuits. And that's what this device does.
Thanks, Richard. I really appreciate that perspective and detail. And again, this is why the stores are a great resource. So another plug for that as well. And another resource that you can reach out to is the American Green Zone Alliance. So I put some information here. They are a company that can kind of give some professional advice. I do believe they charge for that, but they can kind of take a look at your current equipment and make recommendations on what would be the most cost-effective way to transition and what type of infrastructure you need to make that happen. And then the kind of final point here is just the disposal of batteries properly. So I think in this transition to all electric, we are all still kind of learning and how are we going to recycle batteries or reuse them, and that market and industry is expanding. But there is a lot of obviously competition because we're electrifying vehicles and other things as well. But I do want to put a plug in that you cannot dispose of your batteries in the regular waste stream. It causes a lot of problems and a lot of environmental damage in doing that. And it also is a fire hazard as well in our facilities that process waste. And so we did find a local area where you can dispose of batteries. It's at the Home Depot for free. It's called Call to Recycle, and it's in East Palo Alto. But we do recommend that you call before you show up, just to make sure that they are that the program's operating and it's not on certain days. And so another area where you can take it to is the Shoreway facility in San Carlos, where they take hazardous waste as well.
Just a quick plug, Rebecca, on AGSA. They're a really good resource. And what they do is they test all these different vendor products. And you have to get, in order to get AGSA certified, they go through a pretty extensive test on safety, performance, and all of these things. So when they stamp it as AGSA approved vendor, they really thoroughly test it. So it's a really good resource to kind of go and just look at and see what brands and what products are using and would have been tested and certified.
Thank you. All right, so that brings us to the end of the panelist presentation part of this webinar. My contact information is here if you have any questions or want to kind of connect with some of the panelists here. I was trying to drop in information on our chat, but we don't have that feature. But again, feel free to reach out to me if you're needing help on finding information. And this is recorded, and so it'll be available on our website. So what I mentioned before, which is menlopark.gov/ZELE. That is a place where you'll be able to find this video. So at this time, if anybody has any questions, you can raise your hand. We have about 5 more minutes, and we can answer any questions you have. And the raised hand feature is next to your name or at the bottom of the screen. Okay, don't see any hands raised. So again, I want to thank our panelists, Richard Ogawa, Erasmo Martinez, so Gardenland Center, Ewing, and EnviroViews, Armando Vega. Thank you so much for doing this. This is going to be really helpful. Again, it's recorded, so we are anticipating we'll have a lot of views of this webinar. And so really meaningful, and I've learned a lot as well. So again, I appreciate all of your time on this and taking the time to do this for us.
Great, thank you for hosting it.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
I agree. Thank you very much.
All right, everybody, have a great night.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.